Focus. That'll do it. Right. News day. We've got a different setup today. I've just sort of moved the camera to basically where I was standing before in the news show, and now we've got a different sort of background, more interesting I think, because the that half, there we go, that half of the screen was a bit sort of dull with just the door. So there we go, I've got a different setup, how lovely. Before I start the news properly, I want to acknowledge one thing, and it's the terror attacks in London. And yeah, fuck the guy who did it. I don't care what colour he was, what creed he was, what religion, what anything. He's a bastard. Doesn't matter, he doesn't represent anyone but himself. What a cunt. There we go. Mention that, moving on. We'll start with some sort of, well, not gaming related as such, but YouTube related news. If you want to skip ahead to the next story, there's a timestamp in the description where you can go to the proper gaming news if you don't really care about this, but we'll start with YouTube. YouTube's doing a bit of a shit thing. Well, sort of. I mean, there's always times where YouTube's sort of shitting itself, but in this instance, we've got a situation where LGBT, lesbian, gay, bisexual, transsexual related videos are being censored from their on YouTube's on their restricted mode without any sort of context as to what they contain. So there might just be a coming out story, might be something just as innocuous as that. And fuck off phone. And they're being restricted. Now, this is causing a lot of sort of furore in the YouTube world. And I don't think it's entirely justified. It is in a sense that, yeah, obviously censoring that kind of thing is not useful, especially if a child might be struggling with their sexual identity, so it's like 15 or something, however old, and they're struggling with their identity and they can't see it because their parents or their school have put a restricted mode on. That's not useful, but at the same time, I can sort of understand why they are, and that's because it's very difficult for a restricted mode that's done by algorithms to be anything other than overzealous. It needs to be overzealous, otherwise it'll miss things and everyone will complain about that. So I can understand that in a way, but at the same time, maybe either fix your algorithms to be better, or maybe start hiring people. That's what you need to do. There you go. Fix the problem like that. Don't. Complicated issue. Well done. Good for you, YouTube, making all the complicated issues. Slightly closer to gaming news now. We're getting inching closer. JohnTron, who is a gaming YouTuber, went on a sort of Twitter rant the other day, probably last week now actually, about immigration. It wasn't pleasant to read through, I'll be honest. I'm what you'd call a woolly liberal. Yeah, I'm one of those kind of people. I think that people should just generally try and be nice to each other. And yeah, I disagree with what he was saying almost completely. And so apparently do the developers of Yooka-laylee, for whom he was going to do a voice in the game. And they have now dropped him from that project on the basis of his sort of weird Twitter rant. Now, for balance, I'll say that he has since sort of come out and said, oh, sorry about that, or whatever. He's apologised. I don't know, I just don't agree with the views, to be honest, and anyone who says that Yooka-laylee developers shouldn't have dropped him are quite misunderstanding of how life works. And people are saying that it's a free speech violation. It is explicitly not a free speech violation, because they're a private company and they can choose to drop someone if they want to, and they did because of the things that he said. So that's how that works. That's how free speech works. The only way free speech works means that he couldn't be arrested for what he said. That is what free speech means. So technically, YouTube could actually take his channel off him if they wanted to. They're not going to, but they could do. That is how free speech works. Companies can do whatever they like Like, you can't just go up to your boss and go, "Oh, you're a cunt," and then not expect to be fired. That is how free speech works, I'm afraid, even if that's not how you think it should do. We're out of the political quagmire, except we're not, because, well, this is more positive this time. Outlast 2, I mentioned it last week or the week before, and it had been banned in Australia. It has now been, that ban has been they've taken it back. They're not banning it, there's going to be no restrictions on the game at all, it's not going to be edited in any way, they're just going to release it. This is great news, frankly. I mean, come on. We've known for a while that Australia's backwards, and this is showing us that they are actually learning. They're thinking, using their noggins about what is sensible and what is, like, what adults can process without turning into rapists and murderers. They're learning, finally. In the new sort of listing on the Australian Games thing, Outlast 2 rates as high impact for sex, violence and themes, strong impact for violence and nudity, no, not violence, language, a strong impact for language and nudity, and only moderate impact for drug use. So that is that's how it's high and strong and moderate. So yeah, good, that's how they work, and it's going to be an R18 plus in Australia, as it should be, and it's going to be released fully unedited. Good news, well done Australia. In Rockstar related news, a set of fans of Rockstar games are modding Red Dead Redemption into GTA 5 completely, in the same vein where someone tried to do Vice City and someone else tried to do Liberty City into GTA 5. They've done the same with this, and it's looking pretty good so far. They're calling the project Red Dead Redemption 5, because of course they are, and they are planning to release a playable beta in the summer of this year, which I'm looking forward to. I'll play that, because you get to play Red Dead Redemption on PC, and guess what, you can't do that normally. Some of them have currently spent about 2 years on this project, which is a long time, and they've got people working on day-night cycle and extra textures, and that's sort of the bulk of the work that's going on at the moment. And yeah, keep an eye on that. That's going to be really good if they can pull that off, the whole of Red Dead Redemption. Probably not the story element, but just the map and everything like that into GTA 5 would be pretty exciting to see, actually. Frontier Development are trying to, well, they're not trying to, they're going to add microtransactions into Elite Dangerous. I can get on board with microtransactions. I'd say get on board. I can deal with them being a thing sometimes if they're just cosmetic, they don't affect the gameplay in any way. And this is the case here. They're just sort of boilerplate type things, and they'd be $2 a piece for some reason, like identifier kind of things. I just don't see why they've been added. I don't see the purpose at all. I don't understand what. Doesn't really make a lot of sense to me. If you want to buy that, then go for it, I suppose. But they are adding new free things instead, which is better. Please just keep doing that, and just don't add proper microtransactions in, because that would be scummy, and a lot of people would hate you forever for that. And I'd be one of them, to be honest, because microtransactions are shit, and everyone who's got half a brain knows it. Finally, the last thing I've got to talk about this week, not the biggest week of news again, but you know, there's been the odd couple of things, but Battle.net, the client, much like Steam and GOG and Origin, the client for this is Blizzard games in this case, is going to be rebranded. The name Battle.net is going bye-bye. The client itself was introduced with Diablo 3, and it was created just sort of with the intention of helping the online experience, and if we know Diablo 3's launch didn't work very well at the time, and it is now being rebranded. The name Battle.net is going away. The client's not going away. Some would say that's a bad thing. There's a lot of clients already. We've got Steam, GOG Galaxy, Origin, Uplay, Battle.net. Frontier for Elite Dangerous has its own special one because of course it fucking does. There's so many. There's too many clients. We've got more than enough. They are instead changing the name to Blizzard, just completely rebranding it to Blizzard. Reason being chiefly to get rid of any sort of confusion that there was between the brands. When it was launched, the sort of online, like being connected online on that level was the thing of Mamorpagas and not much else, and it was sort of not very well understood, but now it is, and everyone sort of knows what it is, so it makes more sense to just keep it all under one umbrella and prevent confusion, because I'll be honest, before I got any sort of game that required Battle.net, I didn't know what it was, so I was just like, Battle.net? What the fuck is that? That's it for the gaming news this week, and yeah, it's fairly quiet, but you know, we keep going, and there's been a couple of good things, so yeah. If you want to check out the last week's gaming news, you can check that out here. If you want to check out any of my videos that I do, my gaming videos, my main Let's Play this week was on Hollow Knight, you can watch that here, and if you want to subscribe, you can subscribe right there. So thanks very much for watching, and I will see you next week for some more gaming news.